Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code 90day. That's ruffgreens.com. Use promo code 90day. You just cover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
A strong host game needs a strong wing game. Add Popeye's wings to your game day spread, and the crew won't just be cheering, they'll be salivating. With 8 bold, crispy Louisiana flavors to satisfy everyone's taste buds, our wing game is strong enough to always get you the W. At $5.99 for a 6-piece, order bone-in or boneless for your next watch party. Someone just wrapped up the title of Most Valuable Host.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
At participating U.S. restaurants, price may vary, tax extra.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code 90day. That's ruffgreens.com. Use promo code 90day. You just cover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5, driven by Borton Volvo, America's most awarded Volvo retailer.
Is Borton Volvo back as the sponsor?
I'm not sure.
Well,
I clicked the open.
If not, we gave him a bonus opportunity. By the way, closer to Borton Volvo, we'd love to have him back. I loved working with those folks for many, many outstanding years. So maybe that there's something spiritual there that moved you to use that old open as a hope to reopening the door and, sort of reigniting the love between the Bumper to Bumper show, KFAN, and our old friends at Borton Volvo. I certainly hope so. In fact, we'll give you an assist if that takes place. You probably want more than that, though. Actually,
a little bit more than that, but it's okay.
I wouldn't blame you. Real quick, Larry Mondello guy checks in before we get to the top 5 at 5. And he reminds us, don't forget that when Jordan had to play the second night of a back-to-back in Utah, he also had to deal with getting poisoned by Utah Jazz fans at the Salt Lake City Hotel as well. That is an oldie but a goodie from Larry Mondello guy. I was at the Jordan flu game.
Oh, you were there?
I was there covering. It was emotional and dramatic, and I'm pretty sure in the column I wrote for the Star Tribune, I milked it. I think the way I wrote it, Jordan had a combination of Ebola and like 4 other deadly diseases and played through it and led, of course, the Chicago Bulls to victory.
That's incredible. How long did you get to cover the Michael Jordan Bulls for?
A long time because during my heyday covering NBA in Dallas before I got here was more the Larry Magic era. And so I was very fortunate enough to cover a lot of that. But by the time I got here, then Michael was emerging. And by then, by the end of my time here, or in the middle of my time here, there were a lot of good opportunities because the Bulls were the team. So if I'm covering the NBA Finals as a columnist, then obviously you're chronicling largely the Michael Jordan story with a little bit of occasionally Dennis Rodman,
Yeah.
and Scottie Pippen sprinkled in. So combination. Yeah, it was
That's
fun.
incredible.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
A lot of fun. I'm old. That's the deal. Guardsy is out forever, so we've got part-time guy Max again for the second straight day. We appreciate his contributions. What do you have for top five?
Sticking with the NBA, the Wolves played with some fire and burned the Suns, beating Phoenix 121-113 in the Valley last night. Anthony Edwards was a human torch, putting up 33 points. Julius Randle was hot-handed, shooting 10 of 16 for 28, but it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker who should have stopped, dropped, and rolled the way he was lighting Phoenix up, scoring 23 points, including 11 in the fourth quarter. The fervor wasn't just on the court, though, as Chris Finch's fiery exchange with the refs in the third not only single-handedly accelerated global warming, but also got him the first ejection of his NBA coaching career. Tonight, the Wolves will try and win their fifth straight against an out-of-tune Utah Jazz squad at 8.
It was a very entertaining game, especially the way, because the first half it felt like it wasn't the Wolves game. I'm going, okay, here we go. We've kind of seen this. And Phoenix has played well lately.
Yeah, they had won 8 of their last 10 before
exactly
that. Right.
But then, so what I liked is it's sort of like, well, no, we're not done. We're going to take it back away. And to me, that's what they did, largely in the third quarter and the second half. And it was feisty on the court, right?
Right.
In fact, Jaden got thrown out.
Yeah.
He had a back and forth with who's the Phoenix guard?
Devin Booker.
With Devin Booker, there's a lot of, it is the cliche about the two teams don't like one another. They really don't in this case. And that's fun. When it gets chippy in that kind of way, it adds to the competitive nature of it. Randall, as we mentioned earlier, 28 points on, as you said, 10 for 16, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, no turnovers, and 3 steals. That's a box score to die for if you're a fan of Julius Randle. And we talked yesterday, he's been way too inconsistent. We get into that with Sam Mitchell later because he agrees. But you bottle what he did last night, man, and that would be pretty formidable for this team moving forward. And apparently, also proof that game was that a coach can get thrown out of a game not yelling, but and not even swearing, but simply saying under his breath, "You're a bunch of bozos."
Which bozo is an underrated term.
100% underrated.
Somebody.
It absolutely is, and it clearly got the attention of said referee. He gets tagged for the second tee. You're out of here. Go home. And the Wolves live to laugh about it and have the big chance to follow it up with another victory against the terrible Jazz tonight, correct?
Yeah, one of the worst teams in the NBA. Only 3 wins at home for the Utah Jazz so far this season.
And that would be 5-game winning streak if we win tonight?
5-game winning streak.
And I assume that would have to be our longest of the season.
I would assume
right?
so as well, yeah.
And it would also wouldn't that put us 5 over 500? What are we now? What's our current record? We double check our current record?
They are 26-21.
Oh, so 5 over now. So that would put us 6 over.
6 over. And say the Clippers lose tonight. I'm not sure if they're in action or perhaps because the Lakers and the Clippers are both only 1 game ahead of the Wolves right now as we speak.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Could be important for the standings coming up. Sticking with basketball, it's not often that you'll see Caitlin Clark turn down an opportunity for 3, but it looks like she's doing just that as she reportedly is disinclined to join the NBA three-point contest. The certified sniper is keeping the gun on the rack, in part because she's not particularly interested in shooting threes off of a rack, according to reports. Despite that, the NBA still has Clark in their crosshairs as they are reportedly still discussing matters with her representation.
So it might change. Well, I thought what I read was she said if I'm gonna participate in a three-point contest of any sort, the first time I do it as a pro, I want it to be in the WNBA. I don't know if that's a direct quote or an indirect quote or not, but I'm sure she'll get ripped either way, so it doesn't really matter whichever she decides to do. I don't watch much All-Star Game weekend anymore. Slam dunk competition means nothing to me at this point.
Yeah, all the dunks have been done.
The dunks have been done. 3-point, is a little better, I guess, but even that, I don't know. It's all what we talked about earlier. I can't do All-Star weekend, and I really don't think it would matter that much. I guess it adds a little spice if Clark is there, but I think it's all kind of much ado about nothing. We'll see if she might be coerced into changing her mind. I think that's very possible.
Yeah, it would have been fun if they got her versus Steph Curry or Victor Wembanyama or whoever the heck it may have been. But it would have been fun. But I totally understand if she wants to put the spotlight more on the NBA rather than the WNBA, or the WNBA rather than the NBA.
The NBA, sure.
More basketball, Fallness. I promise we'll get to hockey. Please don't text me or Barrero. You might want to bet the under on Terry Rozier getting back into NBA action this season after it was reported earlier today that the Heat point guard is under federal investigation in connection to a sports betting scandal. The NBA conducted their own investigation on the high-rolling Rozier, but came up no dice. Despite that, the feds are investigating Terry after an unusually high number of bets for the under came in on Rozier, who ended up leaving that particular game with a sore right foot after scoring only 5 points. Terry better hope he has an ace up his sleeve, because former NBA player Jontay Porter was issued a lifetime ban after being found guilty of similar acts. And I believe this is also part of the same probe that busted Jontay Porter as well.
Well, as you say, we're talking in this case about part of the reason I think the Porter story did not get huge attention is because he's not a mainstream big-time player.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about a player with a more recognizable name for sure. And I watched, like a lot of people now, I'm watching the video and I'm trying to figure out, would my antenna radar be up if I didn't know the backstory that's now developed? I'm not sure. But you watch it now with what we know and you go, that you got hurt on that? What's that all about? And then I think I saw a couple of tweets from that moment or before that game from somebody saying, I got some good inside information on him about that his minutes might be limited. And then you start going, wait a minute, how did he know the minutes were going to be limited? He knew he was going to get hurt. So we've all talked about it. If you want to get in bed with betting to the degree that the sports have, this is what you have to understand and accept, that it's not automatic that you'd have scandal. But I think it's more likely that you're going to have a scandal. And as you say, I'll be curious to see if there's, demonstrably provable evidence. I assume the player himself is not saying anything at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's any quotes from him or the NBA.
It doesn't surprise me. You better get to hockey or Fallness his head's going to blow
He
off.
already texted me. I don't even want to open it yet, but he's already texted me. Speaking of shots, Philip Gustafsson stopped more shots than a bulletproof vest last night, blocking 31 shots to help the Wild knock the crown off the Maple Leafs in the Queen City. Spurgeon and Hustadinov got the party started, both scoring in the first before Foligno closed the bar down with an empty netter in the final minute of the game. The Wild were without, of course, Kirill Kaprizov, Dalabil Kirill. They were still cash without Dalabil Kirill, who is set to undergo surgery and be out for at least 4 weeks. The Wild are back in action tonight against the Montreal Canadiens.
It's a very impressive victory. This is this is how you survive without them, is you keep winning games, which they continue to do on the road with a lot more regularity than at home. And the Foligno, I don't know how many of you saw the Foligno empty netter. It was a gutty effort. I mean, he's got somebody right on his butt trying to stop him from getting to the puck to get the empty netter. And he goes down basically to shield himself. He goes down to one knee and then just taps the thing in. It was a very nice play by a very gutty, obviously known as the blue-collar physical guy, Foligno. A good way to take away any remaining tension, because Toronto had tightened it up. And they were threatening, it appeared, perhaps to even steal that game. But Minnesota held on nicely. As you mentioned, the goaltender, I thought, played quite well. I'm assuming it's Flower. I'm pretty sure Flower is in net tonight against the storied Montreal Canadiens. Will that be enough to pay off Fallness? Probably not.
Probably not. He's never satisfied.
No, he definitely is not.
Last one. No pithy writing, because I just saw this coming down the pipeline in the middle of the top 5. But the NFL had its lowest amount of concussions this past season since it began tracking data in 2015. Only 182 this season, which seems like a lot, but is down 17% from only 182.
Oh, we love this game, don't we? We're like, hey, great progress. You're down to 182 concussions. They've conditioned us, man. They have to go, this is great. Let's give them a gold star. Let's give them a medal. Nobel Peace Prize to the National Football League, right? That's too good. How do you feel about those big protective helmets that almost look inflatable, that some of the players who've had concussions that they wear, I presume, to better protect themselves? Do they look too funky, too goofy for you? Do you say, well, no, that's fine. That's just part of the deal if it makes them safer?
I mean, they could always make them look cooler, but if it's coming at the cost of concussions, then you can throw the coolness aside and then put the Guardian cap on.
Without the Guardian cap, there might have been 300 concussions, right?
Right.
So now we're down to, just a very manageable 182. I absolutely love that. All right, good top 5 at 5 again for the second straight day. Sam Mitchell will join at the bottom of the hour, so please don't go away.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code 90day. That's ruffgreens.com. Use promo code 90day. You just cover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
The Fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword BILLS at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword BILLS. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
We're going to make this a relatively quick segment because we kind of need to grandfather in some extra time, bottom of the hour, because we went, I think, a good 19 or 20 minutes with Sam Mitchell. And as it was, I had to end it. I mean, we had to tape it before the show because he was doing his own radio show during our time slot. And Sam gets worked up. That's one of the reasons we love having him on, man. He gives us a lot of good, I think, analysis of the condition of the Wolves, whether he's given up on the club or not, what he thinks the keys will be to attempting to kind of, gain some steam over the course of the rest of this season and make something happen. And then there's some stuff about what's going on in Sam's life, too, which I thought was pretty interesting, both physically and mentally, which will be part of the discussion. The former Timberwolf player and, of course, Timberwolf coach as well. Speaking, Max, of National Basketball Association history, see if I can find it here. I had it moments ago, and now did I lose it? Yeah, I probably did. Let's see if I thought I saved this particular item. On this date in National Basketball Association history, I thought I sent it to myself. Yeah, here it is. Is today the 30th?
Today is indeed the 30th.
January 30th. Do you remember what happened on January 30th, 1996 in the National Basketball Association? Does that date ring a bell?
It doesn't. I feel like I should know this, but I'm not sure what it is.
On this date, so that would be, 29 years ago, Magic Johnson played in his first NBA regular season game in almost 5 years. Remember, he missed 4 entire years after being diagnosed as HIV positive. And his first game was at the Fabulous Forum. And once again, showing you how old I am and how much I've traveled, I was also fortunate enough to be at that game. What happened was, I was out west. I want to say I just covered a Super Bowl somewhere, maybe even Arizona. And the word started spreading that Magic was coming back, and that was going to be his first game back. I said, well, I got to go. So I ended up at the Forum for that game. His first game back, he did not start. He came off the bench. All he had was 19 points, 10 assists, and 8 boards.
After not playing professional basketball for 5 years. The Super Bowl was in Arizona that year, by the way.
That's it. I remember it well then. 19, 10, and 8. They beat the Golden State Warriors 128-118. The Warriors then led by a guy named Tim Hardaway. Do you know the Tim Hardaway Timberwolves story?
No, I'm not sure I do.
So the year he's coming out for the draft, the Wolves are coached by the late, great Bill Musselman. This is obviously pretty early in their run. And the Wolves are, they're sniffing around a lot of players, including Tim Hardaway. And as the story goes, Don Nelson, then a good friend of Bill Musselman, basically said, Billy, you don't want to get near him. He's got bad knees. He ain't going to hold up. Don't even think about it. And apparently the Wolves fell for it. They did not draft Tim Hardaway that year. How'd that work? How did Tim Hardaway's career work out? Was it good? Was it a good career, NBA career?
Yeah, I think he's had a pretty damn good career.
We basically got hoodwinked by Don Nelson, doing that cruelty to his old friend, Bill Musselman, and we apparently fell for the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker.
So was Bill Musselman the pioneer in the Wolves being hoodwinked? Is he the OG?
He's one of them. And Bill Musselman, I battled him a little bit here early, but I got to know him later, and I had a lot of respect for him. But the disconnect was, at the time, he's their first coach. He's not capable of playing for the future.
Right.
And so if you hire him, you kind of have to know that. It's not even his fault. He is what he is. But their director of player personnel, a guy by the name of Billy McKinney out of Northwestern, was more, let's lose, man. Let's tank responsibly. In other words, you're not trying to tell your players not to play, but you play for the future. You play your young guys. And you realize you're going to stink for a while, but there's a plan here that this will give you higher draft picks and it'll give you a chance later to do something. Well, they were complete odds. They had completely different philosophies, even though they were both hired by the same team. That was the first clue that the Wolves didn't know how the hell to put together a front office, right? And a coach, because you got to at least have everybody on the same page. So again, ultimately, the Wolves were so good from a record standpoint under Bill Musselman that they never really under him got, like, you're supposed to get at least once or twice early the top pick, right?
Yeah.
Well, they won too many games. And ultimately Musselman got fired for it. Billy McKinney left as well. But it was an early sign that this franchise was pretty star-crossed, So
they didn't truly bottom out until they got Kevin Garnett.
That's basically it. Yeah, you're 100% right. Let's pause now, so we got plenty of time for our in-depth discussion with our old friend Sam Mitchell, former Timberwolf and coach. He is next on The Fan.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-Day Challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to roughgreens.com. Use promo code 90day. That's ruffgreens.com. Use promo code 90day. You just cover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
All right, we're going to basically get right to it because we want to get this whole interview in before the top of the hour. We're wrapping up at 6 for Minnesota Wild Hockey. Chatted with Sam Mitchell right before the show started because he's on the air right now elsewhere to catch up on his own views of the Minnesota Timberwolves. What's in his own mind about the Sam Mitchell future as well. And I think his first answer is to a rambling dissertation from me about exactly what the hell, from his perspective, the Minnesota Timberwolves are so far through the 2024-25 season.
Well, right now, man, they're like a roller coaster team. I mean, they can play really, really, really good high level basketball on both ends, and then they have these lulls where they have 3 or 4 games, and you're looking at them like, who is this team? I think right now that's who they are. But then I think they're going to peak or figure it out at some point. I really do. I think Anthony Edwards is the type of player, because you can tell he's progging, he's poking, he's pushing, he's irritating guys. He's relentless. And I think it's going to take this group of guys it's taking them a little bit longer to understand that that young man's about winning without the foolishness. And then let me clarify that. Everybody wants to win on that court, on that team, all the coaches. But what are you willing to sacrifice to win? That's the thing. And that's when you get different versions of winning. Yep. And I think with Anthony Edwards right now, what I love about him, he's all about winning. And I think he's going to push and demand of guys. And I think there's moments where these guys really respond to it. And I think there's moments when they try to want to fight back a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to win the battles. And ultimately, for this team, he's going to win the war. And I think this team is going to be better for it. I'm not still overly concerned because you see the talent. And then you see when they play at their best, they're as good as anyone. But you can't be a championship team when you can play also at the depths that they can play sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. That's the issue. But let's stay with Anthony for a minute, because lately, especially, he's been the guy who's as he's admitted, received the most criticism behind the scenes from Finchie. That there's not, he comes out first quarters occasionally and he's not all there. He's committing silly turnovers, and we all know what he's capable of doing. This last game, he was great, but I think for Finch, part of it is trying to get to that place with him where he understands about consistency, what you're talking about, because I don't think he's giving it all the time, Sam.
Well, Dan, look, I think, the times and games I've watched, and again, those are national televised games, so... But I've never seen that drop off like you. I've never seen that lack of attention to detail and stuff like that. Now, only if I could be critical of his game this year at all, and it's kind of hard because it feels like you're nitpicking. He's shooting the three so well, but I don't like him shooting 10 threes a game.
I'm with you.
To me, 5 on great nights, 6 or 7. Yep. But for the most part, he makes himself and that team so much better when he's downhill, when he's getting to that mid-range. Because the thing he has to understand, even when he missed, it allows Rudy them to crash the boards down. Yeah. So now, as part of the game is, even when he misses, my team crashes the glass, now this does a lot of things. You're punishing the other team, you're giving yourself extra possessions, and you're stopping the other team from running out and cutting their possessions. So people don't understand offensive rebounding, the effect it has on the game from start to finish. And so I just think sometimes he'll point to you that he's shooting a good percentage, but it's not about the percentage. It's about the effect and what you do to the other team when you live in their paint. Also, you're getting their starters in foul trouble. So now you're limiting how aggressive they can play on both ends because they got to be conscious of not committing fouls. They got to be conscious in the third quarter, letting the guy go because they got 3 fouls and don't want to pick up that fourth one.
All that's 100% music to my ears. I could not agree more. I think, again, it's hard to argue with his success on threes, but I think he has a more devastating effect.
You got to sit down with him, and you got to have that conversation in that type of depth with him. Because it can't be, no, I just need you to know. It's got to be why I need you to do that. Right? When I sat Chris Bosh down after our first year and I told him I needed less scoring, he looked at me like I lost my mind, like I was getting ready to put a straitjacket on. But then when I broke it down to him and said, look, I need more assists, I need more rebounding, I need more defense, I need you taking more charges, blocking more shots. And I said, by you doing those things, it's going to do all these things. This is going to be the cause and effect. And this is what it's going to allow your teammates to do. And this is how they're going to benefit. And then this is how we're going to be a better team. And we won a division that year.
Yeah, right. I remember that very well. Well,
but you got to give it to them from A to Z.
Sam Mitchell is our guest. I think, well, here's my question on the rest of the team. So they make the big trade, a couple of days before training camp opens. the season's not over, but we played a bunch of games now, Sam. It's more than 15, 20 games. Is it fair right now to say that we have pretty good evidence that whatever we think of Randall and DiVincenzo, that the Knicks won this trade?
Look, man, Karl Anthony Towns is going to be second-team All-NBA, I think. He's an NBA starter, the type of season he's putting up. So you knew from the trade, Dan, that you were trading an all-star, and if he stays on this trajectory, a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Look at, and you know his skill set. We all knew. Look, man, the Timberwolves knew who Karl Anthony Towns was. Like, it wasn't no secret. Are you shocked that Karl is playing like this in New York? Now, maybe at this level, only because Jalen Brunson gets shot, other guys get shot.
Yep.
But I'm not surprised the rebound and the toughness. Man, yeah, you watch Karl. Karl always punished if you put a little guy on him. You put a big guy on him, he take him to the three-point line. Karl is a very intelligent player. So what he's doing, and then remember this, he was third-team All-NBA center his freaking second year in the league or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not like we know who Karl Anthony Towns is. So I never expected Julius Randle and DiVincenzo to be Karl Anthony Towns or have his impact. What I expect is them to impact this team in different ways, be more athletic, be a little bit more quicker, be a little bit better defensively, be able to spread the floor more. Julius getting downhill now, allowing him to make more plays for guys, and DiVincenzo out there shooting. So I think, for me, I'm still not ready to dump on this team because I just think, look, I think this was a shock to Julius Randle and DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really love playing in New York, really love playing for the Knicks. And to be honest, Dan, I think it has taken them a while to get over that. People have to remember, these are people. These are human beings. These people have feelings. Just because they're professional athletes and men, they still have feelings. Man, look, there's some places I love playing more than others, right? And if they traded me, it hurt. Right, my first year with the Timberwolves, dude, when they traded me to Indiana, it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it took me a minute to adjust. Luckily, I went to a place where they were so welcoming and made me feel like they really wanted me, to where it was easy for me to get over it. But also, I got traded as a role player. I didn't have to come in like Julius and try. People expected me to be Karl Anthony Towns. He's not. Then DiVincenzo to be this. So I think it is taking some time for these guys to get their minds and hearts right and adjust to being in Minnesota and adjust to fall. You got to start falling in. First, you got to fall in like with a place before you fall in love with it. And I think those guys love playing for the Knicks.
I'm sure that, yeah.
So I never expected that trade to be judged that way.
Well,
because it couldn't be.
We all knew, even at the front end, the best player in the deal was Towns. The issue was, in return, you're getting two rotation players, right? Potentially two starters with a different look, and maybe you can. It actually gives you greater depth.
Where was DiVincenzo going to start at?
Well, I'm going to say he's capable of being a starter, I think.
He can spot start, yeah, right. But at what position?
Guard.
Over who?
Big guard. Well, no, I'm not saying. I'm just saying in terms of ability. I think he's got ability to play.
Yeah, he can start some games, but he adds depth to your bench.
Yeah, exactly. My issue is I thought Randall, by the way, for the record, might have had his best game as a Timberwolf last night. He was very good against Phoenix. I don't know, maybe the door's opening here. But what we've seen with him, I feel like is, and I'm not even sure all this is his fault, it doesn't feel like the fit has always been very seamless. There are stretches, Sam, where defensively he's lost or he gets stuck in the lane. He's not paying attention. And there's other stretches where when he's really trying to lock down on somebody, it looks good. But I don't think defensively it's been consistent. I think that's affected Rudy to a certain extent. I think he's had to change his role a little bit because, as you know, Cat's not a great defender, but he worked at it this last year. He sacrificed some things, and he became presentable defensively. Yep. And I just thought I bought into all that Randall toughness thing, but I don't know that I've always seen it, especially on the defensive end so far, and that's what's disappointed me a little bit.
Well, look, man, and I can agree with you with that. You know, I've always been a fan of Julius Randle games. I like guys that are physical with the basketball, you know, that beat you up and score, right? Because it's demoralizing. It's one thing to play this physical dude. You know you're going to get them elbows in the face and chest. Then there's another thing. He's freaking scoring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So you getting beat up and the guy scoring. So I've always been a Julius Randle fan, and I can understand, and I can agree with you to a point that, yeah, I've expected more out of him, especially on the defensive end. But, man, look, the potential for him to be that dude defensively is still there. You got to stay on him. You got to keep pushing him. But look, they're never going to get to where they want to go if he doesn't step up and start playing better defensively.
Yep.
Right? They need him. Right? You're not going to win the West if Julius Randle don't start playing at the level consistently. Like
Correct.
you said, maybe last night was the game that turns the corner for him. Maybe that game last night not only turns the corner for him, but also turns the corner for his teammates and how they look at him now. See, now a game like that, Dan, can do a lot, man, for your team, other than just Julius Randle.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what they're all hoping for is okay. And we've had a few of these games before. We felt like there might be a breakthrough, and then they lose 2 out of 3, whatever the case may be.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Where is Julius as far as his contract? Is he got 2 years left, 1 year left?
He's got a player.
What's the deal with that?
He's got a player option for next year, and
I can guarantee you that I promise you, that's somewhere on his mind.
Right?
Too.
Sure.
So again, if you really like this guy, if you really think he's gonna fit, have a private conversation with him. Like, look, man, you're in our long-term plans. That's all I can say. You can say that to a guy.
You can. I don't know if they have
you
yet.
in our long-term plans.
Right.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, or who do you think, because the Timberwolves are not going to be bad anymore with Anthony Edwards.
No.
So even if they're not top 4, they're going to be playing or better.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to be drafting high in the draft. Who do you foresee in the next 2 to 3 years in the draft that can fit with this team, with Anthony Edwards, that's going to be better than Julius Randle? That's what you got to ask yourself.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, they part of the evolving of his role, and I actually like this because you know he can go kind of into ISO mode where the ball doesn't move, and that's something they're trying to get away from. I like when he becomes more of a point forward, where he actually worries less about scoring because he can distribute.
Thank you.
That to me is his best role.
Dan, you know what that does? It's psychology.
Mm-hmm.
By giving him the ball and making him a point forward, what is he going to do 7 out of 10 times when he drives to the basket? Pass.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
See, you just look, this stuff is psychology. Why not put in a set or some plays where Julius gets to be the point forward and he gets to initiate? And I promise you, I bet you $1,000, he won't ever shoot more than 3 of them shots. The other 7 will be passing. And I may even go a little bit more, the 8 of them will. Because, again, he just wants the ball, man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't think it's scoring for him. He loves being able, and some guys need that. They're part of coaching, and y'all got a good coach. Part of coaching is figuring out what guys like and what they need. And sometimes what they like can hurt the team, but sometimes you got to give them a little bit of what they need to get the rest of everything else you want out of them.
Yeah.
Classic example. Everybody thought Don Nelson was so stupid for letting Manute Bol shoot a 3. But Don Nelson, like, we going to take 100 shots. If I let you shoot 2 threes, we got 98 more shots. But you going to block 7 shots and alter 10 more. Who wins? That's psychology. So Manute needed that. So I'm going to let him. Now, Manute, you can't shoot 10. You can shoot 2. If you make 1, you can shoot 3. That's his deal with him.
Let me.
But what it's going to do is make him give you so much more on the other end. So by doing this with Julius, you're going to get better defense. You're going to get a better version of Julius Randle.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the direction they're going in. We'll see again how there's a lot of I love that, man. There's a lot of challenges with this team. And speaking of psychology, Rudy is an interesting case. I don't have to tell you his story. He's limited offensively, but I can also tell you that people I know who are very close to this team say, look, and we have Mike Conley on almost every other week. Okay, you know Conley, what a great dude he is, just a classy guy, really good to talk to on the air. And Conley knows Rudy well. Obviously, he played with him previously, and he says, look, I know my teammates sometimes you'll get frustrated because you get the ball to him and it comes off his hands, you know, and it looks like it's perfect position. But he says, look, we still have to find him when he has those mismatches or when he's literally at the basket where it's just a dunk. But he said, because the feeling is, again, if you want to get the best out of what Rudy offers defensively, you could say it shouldn't matter. But if he's a little energized offensively, then it ends up helping this team on the other court. In the last few games, he's, after a really bad rebounding stretch for Rudy, he is, I think, admitted that he had to, sort of work harder on that end. And he looks better in part because he's been a little bit better part of the offense or bigger part of the offense as well.
Dan, I can tell you the game when it happened. The game was on TV. Rudy flashed into the lane. Julius had the ball on the right wing. Can't remember the team. Rudy flashed to the lane.
Oh, yes.
Julius just keeps dribbling.
Yes. You remember it well. Yes.
Rudy goes right down court and just knocks the guy down, gets the offensive foul.
That's it.
Then he comes back down court and does something, gets a 3-second violation and stands in the lane. And then Coach Finch calls a timeout, and you can see them kind of going at it.
Yep.
You can tell there, but see, what Julius didn't understand, I don't care if you throw it to Rudy and he fumbles it. I don't care if he missed the dunk. I don't care what he does with it. If I got to throw him that freaking ball down there 3 times a game and he going to block 5 shots, alter 10 more, and play and give me 12 rebounds, who cares? And I think Julius Randle didn't understand that. And it took Julius a while to get that. Dude, again, what did we just talk about? You got to know your teammates. You got to know your players. And again, no one said throw it to Rudy down there 20 times, but you got to throw it down there 2 or 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
And then, Dan, that last but not least, if you don't throw it down there to him, you are embarrassing him.
No question. Yep.
Think about it. You're embarrassing that man in front of 20,000 people and millions of people. Because when he steps in that lane and got a guard on him, and you look him off, you're basically saying, I'm not throwing you that ball because you can't do anything with it. And that's the perception of everybody's mind that's watching. So you are embarrassing your teammate.
100%.
You're not supposed to do that. You're
100%.
supposed to uplift him.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
You got to learn that.
Who do you have in the NBA Finals right now? On the basis of what you see right now.
But see, it's fluid with me right now because Denver's starting to play well.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray's starting to play like he played when they won a championship. Denver, if they can make the right trade, I've been hearing that they would like to get Bruce Brown back.
Ooh.
If they get Bruce Brown back, whoa. Because that dude can play 4 positions defensively.
Right.
So right now I'm going to say Boston and OKC. Because you see OKC got the best record.
Yes, they do.
You would think they're going to be better defensively and even offensively when they get Chet back.
Yep.
Right? So does Chet have enough game to get his rhythm? And now they can play even bigger because they can play Hartenstein. They'll be able to play Chet together. So now from going to a small team, now they can look big. And Chet covers a lot of ground offensively and defensively. But I got to see him with them. I'm going to say those 2 teams, but now I'm going to throw a puncher's chance to Dallas when Luka get back. Because the scary thing is going to be about Luka when he comes back, he's going to be rested.
He's going to be, fresh.
He ain't going to be wore down.
Right.
In the playoffs last year, he wore down. He ain't going to wear down this time. And so you're going to have Dallas, and they got a good overall team.
Mm-hmm.
Denver, if they can make the right trade. And I would still give the Wolves, because of that Anthony Edwards guy, a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
It all depends on, have they turned the corner from the last 4 games, and now we're going to see they done figured each other out. They done worked out the kinks. Now we're going to see them go on and start winning 10 out of 12 in stretches like that.
My sources say you're ready to get back into coaching. Can you confirm or deny?
Confirm. I want to get back into it, man. My body, Dan, I had hip replacement 2 years ago. I had my knee replaced 8 months ago. And, man, when you've been in pain for and I was in pain for year or two before the hip replacement, and my knee was hurting. When you've been in pain for 4 years, it drains you. It takes away your drive. It takes away your personality. Man, you start becoming an ogre and just a, you're just angry, man. And you don't even realize it just happened gradually. Man, when I got my knee and my hip done, dude, I feel as good as I felt 20 years ago. Wow. I'm back on working out every day. I'm back walking. I'm back riding my bike. I'm back doing squats. I'm back moving. And with that desire to want to be on the court. Dan, the only reason I had stopped thinking about coaching was because for me, being on the court with players is important. That's the part of coaching I love. I love being on the floor. If I can't be on the floor, then I can't stay on the sideline sitting in a chair, coach. That ain't me. That's not my personality. Now that I got my mobility back and I'm pain-free, that desire, I miss being in the gym. My wife, you see how loud I'm talking now. My wife get on me all the time. She's like, look, I hope you do get back to coaching because I'm tired of you walking around the house yelling all the time. And I have to remind her, I'm like, baby, I spent my life in a gym. Yeah. I spent my life where I've had to yell over squeaky sneakers and this and that and that. I've spent my life doing a game yelling at players over 20,000 people.
That's it.
So excuse me if I have not developed the indoor voice yet.
You miss the routine of it, the rhythm of it, right? You miss the discipline of it. I can tell.
Look, I'm a disciplined person.
Yes.
I'm a scheduled person.
Yep.
I don't function well when I can wake up and get up at any time. Mm-hmm. Like, I function well when, okay, boom, I'm getting up at 6. Boom, I'm leaving the house at 7. Boom, I'm going here. Boom, I'm doing this. Boom, I'm working out. Boom. Like, I'm a schedule type person. I function better. I don't do well when I just get to play things by ear. I feel uncomfortable. I feel lost. I feel like I'm wasting my life. I have to be on some type of schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, you belong back in it. I mean, you're too good at it, and the game can always use a Sam Mitchell. We're against the clock. You got work to do. You're all over Sirius XM NBA radio. You're doing NBA TV stuff. People can find you pretty much everywhere, and we'll be in touch as we get closer down to this stretch run, man.
Man, look, happy belated birthday, my friend. Look, keep doing what you're doing. You're still really, really, really darn good at it. Look, I enjoyed catching up with you, Dan, and anytime you need me, all you got to do is call.
How good is that? How good is it to have that kind of resource available to us on a regular basis in this market? I love Sam Mitchell, man. I'm not lying. He's been so good to us over the years, and I think it's a great listen as well. You're hearing the Spinners music now. The I'll Be Around finish to the show, because we're out early for Minnesota Wild hockey for the second consecutive night. I'm back tomorrow at 3. Blake Moore will be with me. 2 great days with Max. Thanks for hanging out, man. Much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed it. I did.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you. And we'll have kind of our own Friday football beast tomorrow. A very good guest lineup. We'll give you details overnight into tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. And prepare now for Kevin Fallness and Wild Hockey. That's next, right here on The Fan.
A strong host game needs a strong wing game. Add Popeye's wings to your game day spread, and the crew won't just be cheering, they'll be salivating. With 8 bold, crispy Louisiana flavors to satisfy everyone's taste buds, our wing game is strong enough to always get you the W. At $5.99 for a 6-piece, order bone-in or boneless for your next watch party. Someone just wrapped up the title of Most Valuable Host.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
At participating U.S. restaurants, price may vary, tax extra.